These security guards are your fellow employees. I don't want any deaths involved. Good luck. We could all use it. Damn. And there's our culprit. I assume, between your statement and her absence, that Imogen must be the mole. Benjamin Bayou is administrator of Neon. He runs this town and controls almost everything in it. If Ularu was the mole, as you said, you should have brought the news to me first, and then we could have determined the right way to handle it. I assume you were successful. I didn't get any incident reports last night, so I applaud your work. As I said, well, I assume success is in order. I had a few reports, but at least nothing that set off any red flags. Our legal team is taking care of the deceased. I only hope you got the data Nix needed. Ularu would never show it. But I know the news will sting. Once your business there is finished, you'll deliver the slate to David Barron at SSNN, and then report back to Misako with the prototype. This is why we're bringing in a third party. She won't be expecting to go up against Neon's best. My apologies, Misako, but we've failed here. We've decided to run with the truth. Ularu was the mole, she framed Imogen, and the situation was taken care of. Ularu is limited in what she can hide here. Plus, she'll have no reason to believe anyone will be looking in the first place. I only hope that Misako and the others will be patient with the process. If that's a joke, it isn't funny. We're trusting you to get this job done as discreetly as possible. Plus, if we vote to acquire Infinity Ltd., we're about to add a significant workload onto my team. We're initiating Security Directive Theta, which means a full sweep of every employee in this building, Misako and myself included. I'm glad you brought this to my attention. Regardless of how I feel, I would be a fool if I didn't take proper precautions. Bayou is a businessman. Any favor he may request wouldn't be far off from the assignments you've already completed here. If you need something, speak to Thomas. If I'm not mistaken, you appear to be on her side. We believe she'll take the chance to incriminate Misako within the program, so this could provide the evidence we're looking for. Your job is to infiltrate Ryujin Tower as an anonymous outsider in order to run this program. Completely off the books. I highly doubt the administrator is involved. Even if she suspects anything, chances are low she'll make a scene. She's too smart for that. I'll have Yuko determine her position so we can start tracking her. Good. Once Ularu believes she's properly deflected any suspicion, I've no doubt she'll be bold enough to hide something within whatever program she writes. I was afraid of that. It would take a lot to jeopardize that. Incident reports have been light lately. I'm not sure whether to be concerned or relieved. You will be tasked with the assignment to infiltrate Infinity. So, before you go, I want you to bring that program to me. If you want any more information, you'll have to speak to Imogen herself. Not that I blame you, but if Imogen really wants to prove her innocence, she better be prepared to face a strict interrogation. That blasted tech. I agree. But others may see the decision as irrational without adequate proof. Had I known your capacity to take initiative was so limited, I would have given you more detailed instructions. I'll see you in the meeting. Yes. The evidence was quite damning. I don't believe I sent for anyone. Please, sit down. With her past in operations, Ularu's certain to make sure our security is second to none. Security, escort Miss Chen to her office and see that she stays put. I'm not trying to be a hard-ass. I just can't go any lower. You were too hasty. Traitor or not, Imogen was more valuable to us alive. Her knowledge and talents are why she's the chief of operations. So she is the best equipped to evade detection. I don't know. I want to believe she's innocent, but trust isn't something we put much faith in when it comes to security. We'll be announcing Ularu's termination of employment at this meeting, so I need to have security ready to escort her off the premises. Even so, there would have been a high chance of extracting some truth out of her. My guess is she's lounging on a couch somewhere, binging all those movies she hasn't had time to watch. A good question. But with her abilities and connections, the possibilities are too many to speculate on right now. In the meantime, Masako has requested your presence in R&D. She wants you to meet her in Vinakara's office. Well, as long as you follow protocol, I don't see detours being an issue. Directive Theta allows for a third party to conduct the sweep. This way, the results can be objective. The only knowledge Infinity has is that you are the CEO of a small startup company called Lumen Interactive. She knows the consequences of betraying Ryujin, which makes her dangerous. Ah, lovely Miss Amada. How can I help? Here's the new slate with the revised Overseer program. Let's get this assignment finished the right way. We only take on the best, and if the best should be one of the greatest hackers in the Settle systems, then so be it. So, you're finally back. With no sign of Imogene. I'm glad we're on the same page. We employ over 100 members of our security team who rotate floors and shifts. It's not often, but yes. And I'm not the only board member that initially voted against moving forward with the research. For now, you've got more important things to deal with. Good. You're right on time. You're back. I hope that means the Syndicate didn't give you too much trouble. And, Imogene? Certainly. You'll be infiltrating the Infinity Ltd building with the intent to obtain their current prototype and run that slate on both Lucas Drexler and Faye Sangsavan's computers. According to this code, Ularu intended to plant false evidence that would show Masako was working with Lucas. Genevieve and Yuko will be brought in to handle and support the narrative. Well, let's hear it. Understood. But mole or not, this is quite the mess you've made. Now, where was I? Were you at least able to gather any data on how she was able to access Project Dominion? This slate holds an Overseer program that will gather the evidence we need and purge anything related to Ryujin and the internal neuroamp. Perhaps you're right. I may need to reconsider everything in a different light. Well, the timing could be better, but I don't feel strongly one way or another about the acquisition. While marketing is not my specialty, I've no doubt that Genevieve would agree. We discovered a mole within the company who leaked vital information about Project Dominion to Infinity Ltd. Please tell me you at least searched for any data on how she was able to access Project Dominion. The more controversial ones do more good than bad, so many accept the risks. Much like weapons. It concerns me that you don't know. You were saying it's in your best interest, as well as Ryujin's, to make sure that no one is harmed. This evidence is indisputable. To deny it would be to admit involvement, and then we'd have a much larger problem on our hands. We only want the public to know about their mercenary hires and unauthorized human trials. Some details are better left unspoken. Besides, that's really all they need to know. I briefed Masako on the mole and went over the evidence you brought from Nyx in detail. Provided you don't provoke them. And I strongly advise against provoking them. You would side against her after everything we've been through? Agreed. Not to mention the security risks. I can at least see where you're coming from. She was hard on her during training. But we're always hardest on our most promising prospects. If she runs, the guilt will be apparent. And you'll have no choice but to dispose of her. We're not finished here. With that internal neuroamp, no doubt. Should any of SSNN's story prove true, Masako will be doing no further damage under my watch. You've been sorely misguided to believe something like that. The project itself is an enormous security risk, but our lead R&D engineer, Vinakara, has been working on ways to mitigate this. Without that falsified evidence, Ularu is in for a big surprise. The security risks would be innumerable. It would seem so. Perhaps it's a tactic operations needs to explore in the future. I imagine we're looking at months of work. Infinity Ltd is obviously not known for their security. I wonder what Ularu is going to pester me about next. Of course it's about Ularu, who you murdered, right here in our own building. Aye. Matters like these are handled within the corporation. You may very well be right. I just want to avoid a scene. Sending you keeps the rumor mill at bay. I don't believe you would. Intentionally. It's the motives of others that have me concerned. I need you to bring Imogene here for questioning. And remember to keep a close eye on her. Misako is waiting on you. If it were up to me, I'd have shut down Project Dominion a long time ago. Well, this evidence certainly complicates matters if Imogene believes Ularu to be the true culprit. As much as it pains me to say it, I second the motion. Indeed. We don't conduct the sweep ourselves, but the ones who do have proven to be extremely thorough. I'm keeping the original slate as evidence of Ularu's betrayal. Good. Keeping Ularu in the dark is the key to taking her down. So, let's take a look. In fact, she probably sees this as a paid vacation. And here I thought sending you after her would be a simple task. I suppose I do have reason to. I didn't think it was possible. But someone's been accessing Ularu's files remotely. It's quite a complicated trace, too. I'm impressed Nix was able to track all of this. If Lucas wishes to add corporate theft to his list of crimes, with no one to back his story, it'll just look like he's making desperate accusations. It's a means to an end. We'll make sure Imogene is properly exonerated and welcomed back with open arms if this plays out our way. I can't argue with your logic. But guilty or not, there was valuable information we could have obtained from her. You're lucky Misako is in R&D, and Maeve has enough sense to keep this quiet. I want to keep this one intact, so Ularu can't dispute it. I agree. We've experienced what it did to this company firsthand, but it's how we maintain cooperation between Ryujin and Neon to ensure success for both. Basically an exchange of goods and services. It's possible our third-party security agency missed something. It's a delicate situation. Bayu could make things very difficult for us if we crossed him. Do you have the program? Are you really going to keep Misako waiting? We left the details vague, so you can fill in what you like. This is not a choice. It's an order, and not a word about this to anyone. I'll present what I have to the board once I've completed a full report. With Infinity joining the fold, we have a lot of work ahead of us. The people we're dealing with will expect nothing less. We can only hope some good may come from Imogene's abrupt death. Nay, I have full faith Alexis and her team will see Misako exonerated. Now, let's attend a meeting. The moment you launched the Overseer program, a series of fabricated communication files would have been uploaded to the Infinity Ltd network in due time. I'll be reaching out, but right now we need her to remain in hiding. I suppose you suddenly have all the facts now. This explanation better be good. I've a mind to fire you just for that comment. One of them even frames Misako for encouraging Lucas to push for early human trials. And this is precisely my concern against such technology. Head over to the trade tower and be discreet. Let Bayu know that you're there on Ryujin's behalf. I hardly believe such slander to be true, so yes. Masako's proven to be the best leader countless times. I hope you're ready to listen this time. The competition has been turning to more aggressive methods of late. I've briefed Misako and discussed her plans on handling this. While we both agree Ularu is guilty, we need irrefutable evidence before presenting this to the board. As much as I'd like you to subdue her and bring her in, Imogene would never allow it. I actually believe you. A disruptor is a non-lethal weapon. Our subsidiary, Arboron, makes an excellent one that I'll be issuing you. A mole within the company means a failing in my department. Your orders were to bring her back for questioning. She could have had vital information. Agreed. The security risks are too great. It should make your traversal through that department much easier. I believe we're waiting on you. That's the plan. Let's see. Evidence against Ularu. And here I thought sending you after her would be a simple task. I fully expect she'll be eagerly awaiting SSNN's broadcast, anticipating Masako to be accused alongside Lucas Drexler. It would explain how they were able to pull everything off successfully. For the press, I imagine no details will be given. Only that Ryujin lost a crucial executive before her time. That's because you're the one with the tool to do it. Remember, most of the people at Infinity are simply making a living. Do your best to avoid unnecessary altercations. Your orders were to incapacitate or evade security, not go on a killing spree. For now, we lead everyone to believe that Imogene was the mole, and the situation was dealt with. You'll meet Nyx at Madame Sauvage's place. He knows Directive Theta has been enacted. The sooner, the better. We don't want to give a clever mind like hers any more room than we have to. I thought better of you. But I was obviously mistaken. If this is about the mandatory password resets, I don't want to hear it. Well, she has the means and access. But things are rarely so cut and dry. We discovered a mole within the company who leaked vital information about Project Dominion to Infinity Ltd. Now that you've been briefed, let's attend a meeting. Directive Theta requires utmost secrecy for success. We don't know what connections the mole may have, so we can't risk informing our security team. You know how it is. I'm the one you've got to deal with. Like it or not. Not that I enjoy it, but I wouldn't trust anyone but myself with these reports as it is. I want you to head to her office and escort her here. We have to make sure she doesn't try anything before I have a chance to speak with her. Between Benjamin Bayou and Ryujin, Nyx lives a very comfortable life here in Neon. Ryujin's success matters to her, but so does the foundation that it's built upon. I also see that Imogene isn't with you. I hope you at least fared better where your actual assignment was concerned. So, thanks to your work in Sidonia, I'm told someone here has leaked information on Project Dominion to our adversaries at Infinity Ltd. It's the intent behind it. Neuroamps are a technological breakthrough that's hard to argue. I'll be deferring to Genevieve on this, but the most likely cover story for those who need to know will be suicide. From what Alexis has said, anyone who came forward to defend Lucas would be prosecuted as either aiding or being an accessory to these crimes. Are you lost? I knew it was a grave security risk. And look what happened. I hope you realize what your negligence has cost this company. An opinion she never had the confidence to share to my face. You'll find Dr. Kara's office to your left as you enter the floor. I admire your confidence. Let's hope she remembers those words. I quite share your sentiment. Don't put anything past her. Imogene may be a valued operative here, but that's what makes her equally dangerous. After the series of security issues we've had lately, I'd be remiss if I didn't say the acquisition is a bad idea. This simply is not the time. She's aware this situation won't be resolved unless counter-evidence emerges to clear her name. Not that it was a huge concern, but it would be nice to be rid of the shadow it's left. I'm also issuing you a disruptor, which should help in avoiding casualties should a worst-case scenario turn up. I hate to even consider it. But you're not wrong. Perhaps if you present your argument, I might better be able to understand my own thoughts on the matter. As I was saying. Very well. Just don't expect too much. Not all board members condone brute force methods. Of course, Yuko would know. The thought had crossed my mind. Two of the more brilliant minds at Ryujin Industries working together to bring it down. I'm insulted to think that's the reason why I'm against Ularu in the first place. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some preparations to make. Imogene will be waiting for you at the Terra Brew in New Atlantis' commercial district. Is it done? I'm not basing my decision on trust. I'm basing it on what I know from years of experience. Now that I don't have to worry about Infinity Ltd., I can get back to prevention improvements. But, as much as I hate to say it, it did allow us to thoroughly scrub Ularu's computer, and find the evidence that justified your actions. Indeed, there's no doubt. Should you have even noticed the upload, the program itself is designed to ignore any stop commands. It would have been too late. I was afraid of that. You operatives are as smart as you are stubborn. At least we've established we're both failures. But now you're saying Ularu may be involved? Oh, this complicates matters. Now, I need to undertake the laborious task of analyzing this new evidence and writing up a report. If Imogene's with the Syndicate, I can't just send you after her. You'll need to speak with Benjamin Bayou. The risk to their own careers should be enough to keep them quiet. I believe her informant is a man named Amir Kashar, a disgruntled research tech working for Infinity Ltd. Under Faye. No. Directive Theta will remain confidential. But if this slate provides indisputable evidence to corroborate your story, well, that's enough proof for me. Perhaps one of the greatest Ryujin has yet to see. Something you need, Operative. I disapprove of the general practice, and Bayou knows it. Ularu was the mole, and rather than risk exposure, she chose to take her own life. The evidence you provided was enough. At least one of us is. If she fled, she certainly wasn't helping her case. Directive Theta has one unique case, and that's Ularu Chen. I was afraid of that. But you had your orders. I reevaluated all the evidence. It took every resource I had, but the final answer is clear. Ularu is the mole. This simply is not the time. After the series of security issues we've had lately, I'd be remiss if I didn't agree. Back to Directive Theta. You're back. And Imogene? Aha. The decryptions hit a snag. There's definitely something here. If the situation does take a turn for the worst, I only ask that you perform a thorough search for any evidence she may have in her possession. Imogene and I have frequent discussions over security, so the request shouldn't raise any red flags. I'm glad we're on the same page. I've heard my share of foolish answers, but yours is one for the books. Your name is Skylar Lumin, head of a small startup company called Lumin Interactive. I'll be ready. The Nova Blast Disruptor is a non-lethal weapon. The directive calls for a specialized programmer known as Nix to investigate her. But he'll need your assistance for an unusual assignment. If anyone spots you, it should incapacitate them long enough for you to get out of sight. It's something I hope our mutual friend here will understand as well. As long as that comment is in regards to Ryujin's security, then we have nothing to worry about. Yes, at least your assignment wasn't a complete waste of time. This meeting should prove to be very interesting, especially after that bomb SSNN dropped in their last broadcast. And it's also why secrecy is of utmost importance. Not even our own security detail can know, in case the information leaks. It's one thing to hide your work in a network with thousands of employees, not to mention access to a top-secret project that can let you control said employees. I suppose you're right. As long as I'm fully aware of the risks, I can properly account for them. Agreed. We all experienced the threat it posed to this company firsthand. We called you all together to discuss a recent security breach. Good on you. No way. It's my arse if something goes wrong here. Imogene Salzo, Senior Operations Specialist, and one of the few I had in mind for who could pull this off. I hate to agree, but you're right. And I'm sure Masako will understand my reasoning. It will be a relief to reinstate Imogene as well. Yes, and hopefully you'll learn from that mistake. I trust you will. Perhaps you need more faith in Genevieve and Alexis. Vina's the head of our research and development team. We've made some significant security upgrades since Project Dominion. Let's hope they're enough. We don't deal in trust here. Think more in terms of mutual benefit and leverage. And in this case, it's mutual benefit. You're damn right you messed up. Part of your job here is to be prepared for anything. Ularu doesn't know about Directive Theta. But she'll fully expect a building closure while we investigate. You're damn right you overreacted. It may seem that way to you, but Masako's proven why she's CEO of Ryujin countless times in the past. Something I expect you know nothing about. Not safe? And I hope she gave you a damn good reason why. You don't really believe that will dissuade me. So you did find her, and yet failed to bring her in. I'm looking forward to this explanation. You're back. And Imogen? The board can handle it. Besides, it wouldn't be the first time, and it certainly won't be the last. I realize you have the internal neuroamp, but should you still have that disruptor I gave you, I'm sure it could come in handy as well. This is exactly what we needed. As shocking as this may sound, I think you're finally pinpointing my source of doubt. You don't scare me. In the meantime, I'll ensure all non-essential employees, Ularu included, have left the building, claiming routine security maintenance. The way I see it, you need what I'm offering more than I need what you're paying. Ularu would destroy Ryujin's reputation. We'd truly be a corporation built on blood with her in charge. If only that was the case. Marketing will find a sympathetic way to spin this, and I doubt the truth will bother to make an appearance. In fact, as much as I appreciate the words of your associate here, you may be better off heading in alone. In order to justify your actions, let's hope the evidence is convincing. It shouldn't be for anything unfamiliar. After some debate, we decided to fully disclose the results in this meeting. So I wanted you to be prepared. Of course, the public, along with the rest of the corporation, will receive a much different version. Yes, I'm looking forward to putting this all behind us. Yuko's team has encoded your cover ID card with roof entry and elevator access, so that's your ticket in either way. By all means. Sit. Once you have a seat, we can get started. And since we can't allow any record of your presence, your keycard is being temporarily shut down. You're essentially breaking in. We're lucky enough to have her position now, but should she disappear, we may never have another chance. Yes. Let's just hope there are no latent side effects now. I'll be sure to bring this up to Masako. And considering you're the mole, if anyone's going to be removed from power, it's going to be you. Look, I'd like to help, but here's your operative suit, the Overseer program, and your cover identity. I was afraid that evidence Nix provided would be legitimate. Ularu will be very disappointed. I'd head down to R&D if I were you. We've gone through our fair share in the past, and this one would be no different. Imogen has the potential to do this company a great deal of harm with her knowledge. Nay, that and I have no doubt we would have heard from him by now. It will stun your target, giving you a chance to get away, but you'll only have so much time before the effects wear off. As soon as SSNN exposes Infinity Ltd., all of their data is going to come under intense scrutiny. Given her training, I tend to agree. I believe her plans rely heavily on you. Of course we do. The malicious code you hid on this slate to upload incriminating evidence against Masako onto Lucas Drexler's computer. As long as that comment is in regards to Ryujin's security, then we have nothing to worry about. You realize, if Imogen has misled you, she'll be long gone by now. Perhaps there's some hope for Imogen yet. Exactly. It's too soon to be making critical decisions. Now, we finally have the evidence we need to prove Ularu's guilt. If she resists or tries to run, we have no choice but to take it as an admission of guilt. I'm afraid you'll have to dispose of her. Nix is the only hacker to successfully break through our security, so naturally we were quick to employ him. Unofficially, of course. The only exception is Ryujin Industries, but only due to how mutually beneficial our relationship has been. Wake up! You're wrong. She's brought us this far, and there's still a ways to go. Agreed. As much as I respected Imogen, the evidence against her is compelling. She knows what fate lies ahead for those who betray this corporation and get caught. You realize if Imogene has misled you, she'll be long gone by now. Touché. The last thing I want to deal with are any more incidents this new neuroamp might cause. My team has already begun setting extra security in place. I want this over and done with. Yes, the possibility was discussed. But we felt honesty may be more beneficial in this case. So, you're finally back. With no sign of Imogene. Evidence against Ularu. I hope Imogene realizes if she truly wants to back this up, she'll need to contact us at some point. We called you all together to discuss a recent security breach. The security risks are baffling, and in the wrong hands, the repercussions for the settled systems would be horrifying. Yes, and had you not brought this program to me in the first place, you would have been the one planting the false evidence. And here I thought sending you after her would be a simple task. Imogene is highly trained. Ularu can even speak to that. I'm not sure why it wasn't clear before. But I can see where you're coming from now. I hope that future meetings won't be so unpredictable. Let me remind you that not only are we talking about innocent people, but these are also your co-workers. That's not every day a meeting goes my way. Sometimes I think Ularu gives you operatives too much freedom. You just may have killed an innocent person. Any precautions to mitigate risk should be taken. It's not that the board majority fails to see the dangers. It's that they believe we can overcome them. I trust Maeve and the security guards present will also be discreet. It's part of their job, and why they were hired in the first place. Well, this certainly complicates matters. Let's hope you didn't kill an innocent woman. Hidden from the public, yes. As for your fellow employees, some departments will have to be involved. Yes. Unfortunately, she's no longer alive. If you think my job has been easy since learning about the mole, let me educate you. Imogene is a resourceful woman. I've no doubt she's in a safe house of her own design. When you're dealing with corporate workers, discerning the truth from the lies is the hardest part. We trust you can fill in the rest, should more information be needed. Yes. Having her back in the office will help restore some normalcy around here. Nay.
The lovely Miss Yamada. How can I help?
Bayu owns the Sioka Syndicate. For you to walk in there without discussing it with him first could be seen as a violation of our business relationship. I'm going to copy the necessary files off this slate and issue you a new one, as much as it pains me to admit it. Your words echo a lot of truth. Masako and I should be fine wrapping up this meeting without you. Just remain focused on your assignment. Now, let's see what sort of data was worth the lives you took. Let's just hope Imogene cooperates. Operatives are expected to be deliberate and calculating in their actions, especially when confronting a key suspect. Try not to keep the good doctor waiting. Tell that to the families we'll have to contact. Not only that, but it's all hands on deck to fix the damage you caused. It's another to try and hide on a single slate. I can't imagine a more satisfying ending. What the hell were you thinking? You have some serious explaining to do. Starting right now. You'll have to do better than that. I hope you realize you may have killed an innocent person. Yes. And lucky for us, Imogene was able to provide some information that may help you while inside. That will be up to Genevieve. I'm just doing my job, you know. I'm sure you're on the up and up. That hubris could easily bring this corporation down one day. I only hope it won't be on my watch. This meeting should prove to be very interesting. I hope she's willing to attest to this in person. My team is prepared to handle the influx. We're more than happy to rid ourselves of a rival. Yes. You made the right call. It wouldn't be long before the information was either leaked to the press or sold to yet another competitor. As far as the public will know, Ryujin Industries was never involved. Whatever business you may have, it's certainly not here. You'll have the opportunity to take as much credit as you like during the meeting, as long as Misako has the internal neuroamp on her side. She can't lose. Good, you're here. We certainly are. Believe me, if this mole slipped past us, it would have slipped past anyone. I won't go into the nature of our practices, but our methods are second to none. She'll follow my lead on this, without question. Remember, don't let her out of your sight once you find her. I'm not trying to make your life difficult, you know. He may ask for credits, or even a favor. Just give him what he wants. So, you're finally back. With no sign of Imogene. I was able to isolate that code and copy only the necessary portions of the Overseer program onto the new slate that you now have. It's possible you'd be recognized, but even so, my orders will be strict. I don't think so. We need to find her first and address that issue afterward. If she admitted to being the mole, you made the right move. True. But you also only had orders to kill Imogene if she refused to return. As far as she knows, it's standard procedure. One that she no doubt has already made accommodations for. Of course we're prepared, but the expenditure would be great. The public, She'll be forever associated with Lucas now, there's no denying it. You were too hasty. Imogene could have had valuable information we could use. Why don't you have a seat, so we can get started? Yes. Unfortunately, she's no longer alive. All right. Obviously, so she could exploit whatever weaknesses she must have seen. Project Dominion itself must remain confidential. In that we are agreed. Nay, trust is not a luxury we can afford. With Nyx, we rely on the power of credits and how much he values his own well-being. I trust you won't let your past relationship cloud your judgment. I'm certain Ularu won't pass up this opportunity. If we don't dispose of her now, she could cause a great deal of harm to this company. I never thought I'd see the day when Masako wasn't in charge of Ryujin Industries. It's certainly a failing. But for now, we're focusing on redemption. I can't imagine Ularu is guilty. But it's important we don't overlook anyone. The Overseer program wasn't the only thing on that slate. Ularu also included a series of false communications between Masako and Lucas, as if funding was one of my concerns. She's agreed to meet you in New Atlantis, where she can give you the locker key card of a disgruntled R&D employee. Aye, a security breach at the board level could be seen as a sign of weakness, and we have a reputation to maintain. We now know how effective it is, and may need to resort to it again in the future. With pleasure. Masako has tasked Ularu with writing the program to bring down Infinity Ltd. I'm glad I don't have to explain its importance. Of course. We've scrubbed security footage and run through access card permissions and found nothing. Nyx will be giving you a program to run on Ularu's computer that will pull any data needed to prove her guilty or innocent. We could have easily chosen to hide the fact that a mole even existed, or that Ularu has disappeared and we've been unable to locate her. The only obstacle you'll have to deal with here are the security guards. Perhaps new leadership is what's needed moving forward. I owe Masako a great debt for my success in life. It pains me to admit you're right. I've briefed Masako and discussed her plans on delivering the news to the board. Back from doing Administrator Bayou's little favor. I understand what you're saying, but these people did not have to die. Thanks to your lack of self-control, I've had quite the mess on my hands.
I'll be ready.
It's good to know where you stand. Ularu doesn't have the wisdom to run this corporation. She'd fail. And in the future, might I suggest you not take such a light-hearted approach to such dire news? I find it hard to believe Ularu would take the chance to incriminate herself. Our trust in Imogene is certainly compromised. It would take a lot to bring her back into the fold. Now we can get back to more important matters. Is this the type of respect you show a proven leader? You don't even know what you're talking about. No Imogene, I see. Could she really be onto us already? It seems your time spent in the tower didn't go so well. During that time, I'll be unlocking access to the tower's ventilation system, which you can utilize to help avoid detection. Good, because without it, this adds a complexity that we do not have time for. I know we encourage efficiency, but I would have hoped the idea may have occurred to you, given the situation. She's the creator of Project Dominion, and often considered the protege of Ray Decaris, Ryujin's founder. You read my mind. Let's just hope Masako and the others see it that way. Authorized security personnel only. And you certainly won't qualify, making you an immediate suspect. The majority of Masako's decisions are based on information that Ularu uncovers. It will be handled, once this mess is cleared up, in due time. I'll be reaching out, but right now we need her to remain in hiding. In that case, even if she was not the mole, she's obviously guilty of something. The risk is necessary, and heavily mitigated. Well, the motive could be anything. Credits, grudges, even boredom. That's a good point. Ularu's tactics may be what Ryujin needs to pull us through this. Good. Good luck. I'm sure I don't need to remind you about the importance of this assignment. Be quick about this. We can't waste any time. There's nothing to talk about. I've already made myself clear. Perhaps I should have leaned more heavily on Nyx's talents. The vast majority aid in brain disease and regulation. Our chances of finding her would only decrease with time. So elimination is the most efficient path. Once you ran the Overseer program, it would upload those files onto Lucas's computer, framing Masako as the mastermind behind his recent crimes. Masako's been focusing on how to deal with Infinity Ltd. And their knowledge of Project Dominion. We have to make sure he's aware of the situation. If we're lucky, he may even help us get to Imogene. If I can't find hidden code on a single slate, I certainly deserve to be fired. I'll send word along to the administrator that amends have been made. Masako can still lead this company, with or without the false accusations. Just take the elevator down to research and development. That's hardly a solid argument. The security risks would be innumerable. Maeve is the least of my worries right now. There's a reason why she's trusted to handle Masako and Ularu's day-to-day. Where was I? Oh, yes. If you weren't so highly involved in this situation of ours, I'd fire you. Good. No one can know about this, not even our own guards. So stealth will be of utmost importance. Where do you think you're going? But since the situation was resolved, it's pointless to waste resources on fake investigations and maintaining lies. Good. As long as the board isn't feeling difficult today, this meeting should go smoothly. Now, where did we leave off? Yes, and hopefully you'll learn from that mistake. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Either that, or she's highly displeased with someone at the company. As far as everyone else is concerned, she never left. She's been on a reconnaissance assignment, and is due back in the office shortly. Nay. Now, let's get this over with, shall we? If you get caught, the guards will follow standard procedure and lock you up in a cell for questioning. I figured as much. Lucky for us, he doesn't have any motive to use this information against us. Yes, you made the right call. We've been working around the clock on security upgrades, rerunning background checks, and combing through timelines. These are your fellow employees. We want this to go as smoothly as possible. You're right. If he asks for anything, tell him I'll guarantee to support his fundraising proposal. He'll know what that means. My first priority will be to get the board and all security members set up with shielding as soon as possible. The risk of Imogene continuing to operate as a traitor is too high. If we don't dispose of her now, she could cause a great deal of harm to this company. Exactly. This means your keycard will be turned off, and the security guards in the building will consider you to be trespassing. The information we're dealing with is too sensitive for law enforcement, and their security leaves much to be desired. I'd hoped a day like this would never come. At least you exercise some sense on this assignment. That's the plan. Now, let's see what we have here. Let's just hope this case surrounding her is resolved quickly. It's more of a negotiation than a fundraiser. Fundraiser is just the easy-to-swallow name for it. I disagree. Ularu may be the best operations officer we have, but that doesn't mean she'll excel at CEO. Then we'll have to find another way to build a case against Ularu. And it won't be easy. You expect me to thank you for dumping a brand-new mess in my lap? I can't shake this feeling that I too have doubts. Great. I can only assume she'll be well prepared when you find her. Imogen is Ularu's most prized operative. Let's hear your report. The sooner you sit, the sooner we can get this over with. If he knew we were dealing with a mole that might threaten Ryujin's success, he'd be taking less subtle measures to dispose of them. Yes. Masako was disappointed, but agreed the evidence was irrefutable. Just be sure to bring her back here in one piece. If she's truly the mole, she'll have a lot to answer to. I expected as much. I can't imagine there's going to be anything easy about this transition. It's still hard for me to believe that Masako is no longer here. You can't ignore this. Do whatever you can to remain undetected on this assignment. I'm glad you understand the position I'm in here. Once I've examined this evidence, I may need your help in moving forward. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to make sure I'm prepared for this meeting. You have the files? I'll be sending all the non-essential personnel home, claiming routine security maintenance. Good luck with the procedure. If all goes well, I'm certain I'll see you soon. We can only hope some good may come from Imogen's abrupt death. If anyone could do it, it'd be her. But that doesn't negate the importance of the information she could have provided. I appreciate the talk. I understood. But one might hope you'd at least take the initiative. We demand the best. So that's the threat we deal with. Completely. I understand the success it can bring for the corporation, but my only concern here is security. Good. I'll send word to Bayou that amends have been made. Well, before we make any harsh decisions, I'll need to question her myself. This is a grave overreaction. It's too soon to be making critical decisions. My team is prepared to handle the influx. We're more than happy to rid ourselves of a rival. You now have the internal neuroamp at your disposal, so I suggest you use it. I am not going to argue over this with a stranger who probably doesn't know the first thing about running a corporation. I suppose that's why I'm dealing with 2 dead employees instead of just 1. I'm also very disappointed to see you've aligned yourself with Ularu. Due to the secrecy of this assignment, we can't allow anyone to know what your true purpose is. If the guards catch you, they'll consider you trespassing. Damn SSNN. It's an almost impossible task, even for Alexis and her team. Perhaps you're right. I assume Masako briefed you on her preferred outcome. If Masako wishes to bring Infinity into the fold, I will not stand against it. Let me just stop you right here. No amount of convincing would make me turn my back on Masako. Yes, as the operative behind the investigation, it's important you attend to answer any questions the other board members may have. It's hard to believe Imogen could be our mole, but the evidence points directly to her. As Masako would say, the name of the target was no concern of yours. In a perfect world, the truth prevails. But I think we both know the evidence is what counts here. Ularu, a CEO. I can't believe I'm even considering it. Sorry. But I can't. Well, this evidence complicates the situation, if it points to Ularu. It's going to take me some time to pass, because if it's legitimate, we need absolute certainty before making the accusation. Ularu has the ability to thwart any investigation, so it's imperative she knows nothing about this directive. Nothing good. Project Dominion has been plaguing me ever since Vina proposed the possibility. Of course. But the security footage and access card permissions came back clean. Let's hope the evidence is compelling. I'd hate to learn your attack on Olaru was unfounded. I'll take that into consideration. And you're right to harbor doubt. Our mutual friend here simply decided their lives weren't worth the bother. I never thought I'd be agreeing to Olaru as CEO. But I'm beginning to believe you're right. I don't think anyone is prepared for the host of problems this internal neuro-app is going to cause. But you did have orders. Now, I need to undertake the laborious task of writing up a report to summarize all of this. I accept the responsibility, but let's not forget, the mole has already been exposed and dealt with.